everybody. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Stuart Popejoy. I'm with Kadena, and it's great to be here. It's great to be here in Istanbul Blockchain Week, so thanks for coming. Today we're going to be talking about scaling EVM technology using parallel chains. So first, a little about Kadena. Kadena is a proof-of-work layer 1 that is uniquely scalable using a parallel chain technology, which I'll be telling you all about. And wait for the break, and you'll see how that applies to EVM technology. A little bit about me. I've been in technology since the 90s. Started off in web tech, got into fintech after that in New York, originally from the Bay Area. And then ended up at JP Morgan and ended up founding the JP Morgan Blockchain Center of Excellence before founding Kadena in 2016. So let's talk about scaling. In software engineering, scaling means something very specific. In crypto, it has a tendency to mean a bunch of different things. In software engineering, scaling means that you have a resource that is unlimited, more or less. And when load increases, you can add more of that resource. So when we're talking about EVM technology and scaling, we've seen some fairly unusual approaches for what has actually worked and gotten into production. And that namely is layer 2s, layer 3s, and rollups. And the progress has been quite good. It's certainly expanded the amount of transactions that can interoperate. They don't happen on the blockchain, but they can interoperate with the Ethereum blockchain. We might have lost something in choosing this particular way to scale, and that's what I'm going to talk about. And the main thing is simplicity. But in other words, we've gained complexity as we've gone to layer 2 rollups. So the problems with layer 2 rollups is the first one is complexity and fragmentation. There's a bunch of different layer 2 protocols, Optimism and Arbitrum being some of the leading ones. And the problem with this is that it means that developers have to make a risky choice because once you pick one layer 2, it doesn't necessarily talk to another layer 2, and you're pretty much stuck with whatever you pick. And then, of course, there's the app chain approach. But at that point, you're dealing with running your own validators and basically running an entire blockchain yourself. And for many dApps, that's not ideal. But many people will make that choice just in order to have control. And most importantly, deal with have the amount of bandwidth they need to run the transactions for their application. But perhaps a worse problem is the fact that layer 2 technology is centralized. And that's because sequencer technology, which is what powers layer 2s, is basically unscalable inherently. And it's important to remember that blockchain itself, crypto, is founded on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, on V1 Ethereum, and these were all based on algorithms and techniques that were proven before they were brought into play. Sequencer technology, like a decentralized sequencer, this is absolutely new future tech. Nobody knows how to do it. So waiting around for that will take forever. And as a result, sequencers basically operate as a single unit. And so what's wrong with that? Well, one, it's a single point of failure. But there are worse security risks that come from a centralized solution. And that is that there's censorship. And they could decide not to include your transaction in a block. So decentralization isn't just an abstract value. It actually adds up to real things. It can add up to fraud, and it can add up to censorship. So at Kadena, we've come up with a way to scale blockchains, and we've been running this in production since 2020. And our technology for this is called Chainweb, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. So remember I said scaling means that you have a resource that is unlimited. In Kadena, that resource is a chain. Just like a Bitcoin, an Ethereum V1, but it's a proof of work chain. And when we launched with 10 chains, And after a year, we expanded to 20 chains. Now, these chains are parallel. That means there's no hub and spoke, there's no master chain, and most importantly, it means we can add chains anytime we need to support more adoption and more growth. It's actually the only architecture of its kind in crypto. It's the only parallel chain architecture that's actually running. And the way it works is the chains actually act as oracles of each other's activity and secure each other. It has the unique property that when we expand to have more chains, we actually end up with more security. It gets more secure the more chains you put into the network. And finally, it leverages proof of work. This is something that you fundamentally can't do with proof of stake. Proof of stake is a discrete set of validators. If you break apart that set, you lose security, whereas proof of work is a continuous value that can be sliced as small as you want to slice it. And as a result, we can have a single consensus that can support 10 chains, 20 chains, 50 chains, 100 chains, 1,000 chains, 10,000 chains. So what does this mean for developers and applications on Chainweb? Well, first, it's proven. We launched our network in 2020. And while it certainly hasn't been a walk in the park, because running blockchains in public never is, we haven't had a single interruption of block production since we launched in 2020. So this technology is here today, and it's proven. As a result of having multiple chains, it most importantly means that congestion and gas prices are manageable. Now, what I'd like to say is it's cheap. And of course it is cheap. Our average gas price is in the fractions of a cent. However, it doesn't mean that we're completely free of congestion at any moment in time. The point is that there's something you can do about it. And what you can do about it is you can scale your dApp to multiple chains, or you can move to a chain that's got less utilization. And this is something that allows you to actually manage congestion and gas prices. Finally, it operates as a single blockchain. You do not have to run it. You want to deploy your dApp onto Kadena, you simply deploy your app, you pick a chain, it's completely permissionless and decentralized, you deploy wherever you want to go. So briefly, I just want to talk about the application layer that we have on it today, which is called Pact. And the reason why it's relevant to this conversation about EVM is because in order to roll out Kadena, it wasn't enough to just have a consensus protocol. We also needed application layer protocols for secure and efficient cross-chain communication. So we had to design and deliver a parallel bridging protocol that so when you have a token in ERC20 on Kadena, it actually, when you move it across chains, it actually burns on one chain and mints on the other. As a result, a token can exist on our chain as a single token and move around without creating or destroying any coins. And this is great for when you want to scale your application to multiple chains, because it means stable coins, assets, whatever you want can be moved across chains effortlessly, and it's supported at the application layer. And it allows you to deal with congestion and gas spikes. So as I said, we launched in 2020. After our journey of 5 to 6 years, we're ready for the next step. And that next step is Chainweb EVM. So having this unique parallel chain technology, we want to bring it to the world of EVM developers so that they can realize the benefits. So we are going live into testnet June 30th, just right around the corner, and with over 50 ecosystem partners. I can't advertise them today, but we'll be announcing them on the 30th. So it's important to understand that, so the testnet is launching 5 EVM chains. And so it's important to understand that each one of these chains is a vanilla EVM chain. It will be upgraded to Pectra. It'll have everything you expect from an EVM chain, which means you can deploy your app to it with all your favorite tools like Hardhat or whatever. And, but again, we can keep adding chains. We're starting with 5 for testnet, but if the demand is there, we can go to 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever we need. So, how does this impact you, especially if you're a builder or a dev? Well, one, the big difference is there's no more fighting to get into a block, because it's important to remember that layer 2s, one, can have congestion settling back to Ethereum and face gas price surges there. Two, the layer 2s are still not a parallel technology themselves. So their gas prices go up as well. So by deploying on Kadena, you will enjoy what pack developers have been able to leverage for the last 5 years, which is a low congestion, low gas fee environment. Again, it means you don't have to run your own app chain. We run the network, our miners run the network, we don't run the network. And you just pick the chain or chains that you want to deploy to, and you're done. Finally, I think one of the most attractive things is that this is a mature and proven scaling technology. So we have the tooling, we have the experience, we have the techniques, and we're here to help. So if you have an idea about how you want to deploy onto Kadena, then you should talk to us, because we've thought about a lot of different ways that the scaling technology can be deployed. So we want you to get involved. How do you do that? One thing that's great is that the ecosystem is young, so it's a great opportunity, and and with all this scalability, there's plenty of bandwidth and space for your app to run, so you should get involved for that reason. And as I said, it's fully compliant EVM, so you can deploy. You can easily deploy your dApps. You can join our EVM early access program, and then of course we're at a booth here at the conference. I'll give you the booth number at the end, and come over and talk to us. We'd love to hear about what you're working on. But also, there's our $50 million grant program, which is one of the biggest grant programs out there. And it has to do with our unique token economics, that we still have money coming into the foundation. Kadena actually is one of the most least insider-friendly token economics in blockchain. And so that's why we're able to continue funding builders to come on chain. So all right, that's the grants program, right? So that's it. We're at booth 26. Excuse me. We have DevRel people at the booth. Come apply for a grant, learn about our developer communities and our technology, download the dev kit. Excuse me. All right, thank you very much.